So, welcome everyone to the stream. Gonna go over, first of all, what my plan was before I started streaming the whole thing, and then what happened, the results, and then what I think I'm going to do better next time and how I'm going to change things and where I went wrong. So I initially planned to play the whole series, every single medium event, which didn't go as planned, but at the same time, I was aware that was not going to always be the case. So let me show you guys the background here. So this is what I was planning on doing, this whole entire schedule. All of these are the medium 55s. Now, I was going to still play all of the ones in red, but the ones in red were outside of the challenge bankroll. So currently we have the challenge, which is a challenge to turn 10K into 50K. And then I have my own personal bankroll, which is more than the challenge. So I'm able to play higher games. I'm able to play higher tournaments. And so I planned on playing those on my own, but still on stream. And that's what we did for the beginning. So for the beginning, I played a 1K, which is a pretty big tournament, pretty big online tournament. It's nothing to, sneeze at. Those things can really add up over a long period of time. But in the short run, I think it's okay to take gambles at them if they're soft and I'm feeling good. But this was probably not one of those gambles, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So yeah, I ended up playing most of the events. I think I missed like a total of 10 maybe, and that's because we had a rough start in the beginning. So in the beginning, we got showered. We just bricked everything right away for the first couple of days, except for this one little min cash, which didn't even I didn't even double my profit for the buy-in. So the first couple of days was pretty rough. The second few days was getting a little better, but still we were max regging some of these events and it didn't really go very well. And so anyway, we planned on playing the whole thing. I ended up playing, what did I end up missing? Let's see. Anything that was zeroed was a miss. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, exactly 10. So we missed 10 tournaments, and I think 9 of those was because they were either 1Ks or 2Ks, or 530s. And then the Sunday kickoff, I overslept, or I missed it. I can't remember why, but I really tried to play every single medium event I could, and that was tough because I was multi-tabling these tournaments and I was continuing to play cash games, right? So my plan was, okay, I'm just going to make it like a cash game stream with a MTT addition, like adding some MTTs here and there. But what ended up happening was it was kind of an MTT stream with cash games if I busted the events, which I think was easier to do and fine. I was fine with it, but I didn't really get that super focus on cash like I wanted to throughout the series, which funny enough, I ended up absolutely crushing cash in the beginning. And we'll take a look at that in 1 second. But it ended up being more of an MTT focus, which, I wasn't too thrilled about, but it's fine. I perceive you as a strong cash game player, and I'm come here more to learn and feel entertained. I think you don't want to compete with MTT streams. Well, I think that competing with MTT stream, first of all, I'm never competing with anybody, because if I start competing with people, I'm just going to lose, right? I'm going to lose to Lex. I'm going to lose to Spraggy. I'm going to lose to Jeremiah, who's playing higher cash games than I am. I can't compete with anyone, right? I'm not trying to compete. I'm trying to build up what I can personally build to the largest extent. So whether it's, educational focused content, whether it's streaming my professional poker player journey, whether it's making content on YouTube, that's all, I'm only competing against myself. And that sounds very loserish, right? Like, oh God, this guy just can't compete, so he's just going to try and compete with himself. And I can see the merit in that view. But I also for my own mental health and like my own, longevity, I don't think it's healthy to try and compete with others, to try and compete with views, to try and compete with subs. It's a losing battle in the long run, and you're going to drive yourself nuts. So instead, I really enjoy, trying to top my previous highs. I like to top my own previous follower counts and stuff like that. So that's the goal, right? But yeah, so it's a process. Getting back to the WCOOP results. So we did play cash, we did play tournaments. I did feel like it was a bit too much to balance. And I'm going to bring that up right now. So what I'm going to do, we're going to have, there we go. So I think that we're going to make notes as I go, as I cover everything, and explain what happened terribly and what happens, well. So cash game and MTT balance is difficult. In the future, I would only play cash games. This is a hard one. I feel like I balanced cash games fairly well, but only one cash game with all of the tournaments going on, and particularly like one Zoom maybe. But mostly I would want to focus on MTTs or focus on cash. There we go. We'll just make that a thing. So I would only focus on one or the other. I wouldn't try and mix them again. Even though I was able to in the beginning and I played really well in cash in the beginning, I don't want that to be how I go at things. So yeah, that's one thing that I learned. Going back to other things that I was doing while I was playing the MTTs early on is that I was basically just re-entering everything. I was playing things aggressively, even though I knew they were going to be uncomfortable for me. So something like this 1050 at the start, I underestimated how tough it was going to be, and I underestimated how much I still had to learn about MTTs. So I was a bit too aggressive with the higher end of the buy-ins. So in the future, I would play only comfortable buy-ins. And I would also only play where I think I could possibly have an edge. So play only comfortable buy-ins with positive ROI. I think that's pretty fair. I can move this over a little bit. And then going over the other things I did from day to day, from day one. I had a bit of trouble taking care of Franklin at the same time. So this is like life stuff outside of the actual online grind. But like life stuff, I think I handled it fairly well, but it was a bit hectic. That's something I couldn't really avoid at the time, but that would help me increase my focus over time, is if I didn't have to take care of outside obligations at the same time as playing online. So if I can somehow minimize distractions, I guess you would say, let me get rid of that and put that there, chat here. If I could minimize, I could just do this actually. We'll do that. Then pull, there we go. If I could minimize outside distractions. Better. There we go. So that was another thing that was really tough to do at the beginning. And then I felt like with all of these mixed game events, I was so unfamiliar with them because I haven't played them in forever. Like I have played them a lot. I've played a lot of mixed games in my past. I've played a lot of WCOOPs. I've played a lot of World Series events. So like I wasn't unfamiliar with Badoogie, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've looked at it. It's been a long time since I've thought about it, what my strategy was going to be going in. Was I going to have a min raise in the PL08? Was I going to have a pot size open? Was I going to have, what was my post flop strategy going to look like and sizings and stuff? So like I could have prepared better for the mixed games. If I'm going to do something like this in the future, I definitely could have prepared better. For the mixed games. I did a lot of study for No Limit Hold'em tournaments, but I could have brushed up on my mixed games. I could have thought about it again. And so that's kind of what happened with that. Okay. Expect, there we go. So that was tough. Balancing, 2 tables of Zoom, 1 No Limit Hold'em tournament, and like a 5-card PLO 8 or better tournament. That was just a bit too much for me. And if I had to do it again, I would definitely minimize those difficulties with like mixing all of the different formats and stuff. So like if I'm planning on mixing formats for the day, just get prepared and try and minimize, cash games and all of that. So I don't know how you would say that. I would say no cash if multiple formats. So like a good time to play cash would be if I had like 2 No Limit Hold'em tournaments left or something, then I could easily just play some cash games while I grinded that, right? That'd be a bit easier. So yeah, so other than that, what else was kind of challenging that I was trying to do at the same time? I was 4-tabling most of the time. That I was happy with. I was 4-tabling, but also streaming it. I felt like watching 4 tables, the layout that I had wasn't as nice as like watching a 2-table or 1-table stream like all of the big streamers do. They swap between all of the tables. And that's something I've never wanted to do because it's just another thing to think about while I'm grinding. I feel like sometimes a lot of these streamers, they focus more on like switching tables and highlighting the action than their thought process in the moment. And so I have a hard time doing that particularly, but maybe I can come up with an alternative that somehow like enlarges a table when I'm like mousing over it or something like that, like maybe find a solution for a better viewing experience. So that would be something I would write down for stream quality. Figure out better viewing experience, 1 to 2 tables. Right. I think that's an idea. And so, yeah, so we ended up doing all right in the middle part of the grind. We started finding a bit of a rhythm, even though I was still, busting most of the events I was playing. I felt a lot better about the grind. I felt more comfortable. I was reviewing my hands every night after stream. I was using GTO Wizard a ton to look through ICM, to look through PKO ICM, to learn, some of the chip EV spots for MTTs. I was working pretty hard off stream. So this wasn't only just an 8-hour like day for me, but I was also studying for at least an hour a night, trying to get better. And I think it was working. I felt like I was getting better. I felt like my game was improving, and you can see like I started to cash a lot more. Look at all these caches, right? I started caching things more consistently. Obviously, low sample, right? Who gives a shit about this very small sample size, right? But I think it's more of a feeling and a comfortability than an actual result that I felt like, okay, I'm actually executing my strategy better. I'm actually, seeing the spots where I need to open pre-flop or 3-bet or whatever, or when the bubble is near, I can start tightening up here. Like it started clicking more. So I felt really good about things in halfway through. And we actually were almost near a profit at one point in the WCOOP. I think we were only down like 1K or something total at one point, or like it was like break even at halfway or a little bit more than halfway through the grind, which is amazing because if you're, if you're close to break even and you only have like a quarter left of the grind, it's a good opportunity, you know, to come out of the WCOOP as with a profit if you can continue to cash and stuff. Anyway, mid part of it was great. I hated 6+ Hold'em. That game is terrible. I misread my hand in this tournament, and it cost me a cash, and it cost me some points. There was a lot of points that I missed that I could have easily gotten, which is very frustrating because I think I could have broken top 10 had I actually not tried to like gamble for the tournament and just tried to play for the points. There was a couple events. There was the 6+ Hold'em. If I played all of the like 530s and the 1Ks, that would have given me a better chance at cashing things. If I didn't like punt my stack off in the No Limit Omaha 8 or better to try and win bounties and stuff, like there was a lot of things that I could have done to get points that would have put me on top 10 leaderboard. And then so the leaderboard grind, that's the other thing, right? The leaderboard grind was a big part of the WCOOP grind. I made a bet for 20 to 1. I made a bet for 20 to 1 to win the leaderboard, the medium tier leaderboard. And I felt like I didn't give myself the best opportunity to win it. I was more focused on trying to stay within my bankroll and try and still play and learn and learn MTTs, not try and win the leaderboard. So that was also tough to balance at the same time. I think I tried to balance a bit too much at the same time. I tried to do this leaderboard grind. I tried to, stream a fun experience for the WCOOP. And I tried to learn MTTs all at the same time, right? And that was a little bit too much for me. I'm not much of a multitasker. I'm more of a monotasker, and I thrive in that environment. So this was too much. So balancing things in general, try and focus on one thing or another. Try and optimize one thing or another. So either I should have optimized my WCOOP grind with learning MTTs, or I should have optimized my stream experience for you guys during the WCOOP, or I should have optimized my leaderboard grind. If I had optimized my leaderboard grind, I would have sold action so that I could have played the 1K or the 2Ks. I would have, made sure to register everything to give me the best possible chance of cashing. So whether it's max late regging the freeze outs or not rebuying in the PKOs, whatever it is, right? Actually, that would have maximized for leaderboard too. I should have rebought in those too. So you get the idea, right? It's a lot easier to focus on one kind of encompassing thing. So whether I was going to chase the leaderboard and then maybe not even stream it was an option, right? Like maybe I was just going to grind WCOOP and take off for the month, right? Because I'm not going to, like someone said earlier in chat, like I'm not going to be able to compete with a lot of the big WCOOP streamers, but I think I bring I bring a different perspective to a WCOOP grind because most of the people that stream the WCOOP are sponsored by the sites that they're streaming. Spraggy, Lex, Finton, all those guys, they're all sponsored by stars. They're all getting MTT tickets at some point or another, or they're paid by stars, right? And so it's a different grind for them. It is an opportunity, and they are looking to make money. And they are competing, and they deserve to compete at every step of the way. Not saying anything like that, but it's not like Manifest said. Yeah, it's not like a true grind. You're not risking outside money. Like you're not risking your poker bankroll. You're risking the money that is an income from stars. It's kind of like if someone pays you to go play a whole tournament series, there's no downside. Like they're either giving you money, which you can pocket and not play the series, or they're giving you money and you're realizing an ROI during the series. So it's different. But for me, it's genuinely, I'm risking my own money. I don't have any sponsorship. Stars gave me absolutely nothing for doing this, which is kind of annoying, by the way. I feel like they should have at least given me like one tournament ticket. At least one tournament ticket. Like I literally played their whole WCOOP on stream 8 hours a day for a whole month, and I got absolutely trash. I got nothing for that. So I'm going to be salty about that for a while. But yeah, so I think streaming it was an experiment in a way, because I've never done anything like this before. But I enjoyed the WCOOP grind. I enjoyed competing. I enjoyed trying to ladder up on the leaderboard, and it was fun. It was fun for me. It wasn't fun losing money, of course, but that was a product of me taking too much risk at the end. Like I could have just reeled back all of my risk and then had a very enjoyable WCOOP with losing like maybe 3 or 4K, and it wouldn't have been a big deal, right? So I enjoyed it. Have you tried reaching out to stars? Yeah, multiple times. Yeah, I've talked to their person in charge of what is it called? Their ambassadors, and they're sponsored and whatever. Yeah. I don't think that they get that much. They get more than me. Let's say that. I would say they're getting a minimum of $60,000 a year. Minimum. If not a lot more. Lex, I think, is closer to $1 million, but that's just you know, what's it called? That's just me guessing from what I've heard about things. Anyway, you still have a different perspective on my stream. That's what I'm trying to get at. The pain is super real. The money lost is super real. Like I have to drop down in stakes for the challenge now because we had such a bad WCOOP, right? Like I have to go back down to 200 Zoom and regrind because of the money we lost. So it's a real grind. It's not like I can just go through, lose like 200K for the WCOOP and then we're back at the high stakes MTTs next time, right? Like no, like you have to regrind it. So it's tough. All right. So what else? As we were going through, we got to the end, right? The end of the grind. Now, this is where things started to go wrong. I feel like I had a good grip at this point, right up until literally the last week of WCOOP. It tumbled. I think the main event was a big part of it. I think playing, a 1K again, playing a 530, max rebuying in some of the lower ones previous to playing it. It was a lot. And then cash games started to tank. So I was still playing cash games throughout this whole series. We'll have a look at cash games in a second and the results that I had for the whole series. And cash games started to go on a downswing. At the same time, I started to lose everything in the WCOOP. So that was really tough, right? I was also playing satellites. That's something I would not do again. So let me write for the WCOOP, no satellites, because I feel like they were mostly a distraction when I was playing main events. And I'm not particularly great at satellites. I haven't studied them. I read one book. And so I wouldn't play them again. I wouldn't mess with them again. They're just a distraction for me. So I'm not going to play satellites in the future. I think that, yes, they have a ton of value in them, but they take away from my grind. I'd rather just put up a cash game or focus more on a main event. What's up, Percano? How's it going today? So yeah. It's a shame they don't sponsor many cash game players anymore. Yeah, that's another reason why I wanted to get into tournaments, is because I feel like they're just putting too much emphasis on tournament players, and that's where a lot of the opportunities are as a content creator. Like, yeah, I'll get into that another day. But finishing up WCOOP, right? So we ended up playing at the end, and I was so hyped. Some of my emotions, I started to get too emotional. I started getting too invested in these MTTs. Like if I was in a 1K and I was like close to the money, like I was tense. Everything was tense. I couldn't feel like I was comfortable. I felt like if I bust this, I'm going to be so sad. Every time I was in a flip, my mind was racing. Like, oh my God, like they're going to hit their card. I'm going to lose. Like it was kind of a mess emotionally for me. And some of the days I think I expressed it. Some of the days you guys maybe tuned in and were like, holy shit, he's losing it, right? Like he's not going to finish out this grind. He's so miserable. And you would be right. I was miserable at the end. Things were really difficult. Franklin was hard to take care of. I was on a downswing. I was running back and forth through my computer. I was missing some tournaments that I wanted to register. I made some big blunders in some spots. It was tough. It was really mentally tough to get through the whole thing, but I was determined to get through it, whether I, lost 10K or not. And now let's talk about the results, because at the end, I ended up losing a total of about 10K. We lost 10,000 total. This is not including the challenge money. So 10K of my own money, I lost. I lost 6,000 for the challenge. So anything that was in blue was counted towards the challenge, and we lost 6K for the challenge. That is very evident in this giant downswing at the end here. You can see we were almost touching 20K again, which would have been close to an all-time high for the challenge. And then we just absolutely tanked. We literally tanked. Let's see. We tanked from, we were about here, 18K, all the way down to what the bankroll is presently, 10K. So we lost 10K in the challenge, right? We lost 10K in the challenge, but we only lost 6K of that in WCOOP, but also some satellites. We played some off-stream we played some on-stream satellites that added up. We played some MTTs that weren't included in the WCOOP grind, right? We played like some low scoops or whatever, or WCOOPs, and we added that to the challenge. So there was some other MTT stuff that we lost for the challenge, and cash games. This is where it kind of gets a bit wild, right? This is my cash game results for the WCOOP. So like I said, we started off on an absolute heater. We were actually up almost 8K in cash games. We were destroying cash games. And then all of a sudden, we just went on one of the biggest downswings I've ever had at cash games. Right? We, in terms of buy-ins anyway, we were mostly playing 200 Zoom. We sprinkled it with 500 fast whenever it was running, and we did well on that, right? But we mostly played 200 Zoom. And so if you look at just 200 Zoom, you'll see we were up 5K. We were up about 10 buy-ins, more than that. 15 buy-ins off the hop. We were crushing it. And then all of a sudden, it felt like everything kind of crumbled. I was getting emotional. Maybe I was making mistakes, but I was uploading my hands, and Wizard was saying we were playing well the entire time. This could have just been variance, right? So I ended up losing, yeah, what is that, 25 buy-ins? I don't know. More than that, isn't it? I lost 5K down to 1.5. So that's 6.5K down, which is 30 buy-ins, 30 buy-in downswing, right? And that's tough. That's tough. 30 buy-in downswing, that is tough. You wouldn't think that could happen to you until it does. And a large part of this downswing, was one day I just fired up 4 tables of cash game Zoom because I wanted to just grind out, because I was so tilted about the MTTs, and someone raided me and I wanted to extend stream. Bad idea, right? We ended up losing like 8 buy-ins in that stream or something like that. I can't remember how much it was, but That was a big part of it. That was kind of what kicked off my downswing in cash games. Is I started unfocusing, right? Everything just started like I was focusing on MTTs. I wasn't looking at my cash game tables as much. They were kind of like a second nature thing. And yeah, it ended up having a downswing. On top of that, I ran bad. Okay. This isn't just, you know, um, this isn't just like the results. Like I got cooler after cooler after cooler. I wish we could look at the luck thing. There's like a luck factor, but it felt bad, right? I think I went on a pretty bad run. It doesn't say that in the EV because EV doesn't really count like how many times you're going to get kings versus aces, right? But as a pro who's played tons and tons and tons of hands, I can really tell when I'm just running bad over a stretch. And so yeah, I think I was running bad. I think I was, you know, playing bad as well, maybe playing less focused. And so that ended up, you know, being pretty brutal. All in all, though, we broke even in cash. We won $292. We won $200 over the month of the WCOOP while playing an entire leaderboard series, playing in some of the quote unquote toughest games online. Like, I mean, it's kind of a win, right? Like, it's not that bad. And I thought it was going to be a lot worse, honestly, for cash games. But yeah, so that's what happened with cash games. In the future, I would never play more than 2 cash games. I already knew that. I would even lower it down to 1 while I was playing tournaments. But yeah. Wondered if you were over aggro during this stretch. I definitely got a bit more aggro. Yes. I don't think I was over aggro though. I think it was a lot of, I felt like the pool was softer, and they were a lot more passive. So I got the opportunity to be more aggro. Whereas when I play in like tougher pools, typically players are over aggro. So I have to be more passive, if that makes any sense. So yeah. Yeah. Anyway, not a huge deal, but I just wanted to show you guys what was going on with cash games and my mental, right? Like I was literally logging on every day at this point during the, you know, halfway grind and losing every single day in cash. It felt so bad. I was getting absolutely destroyed every day, and then I was busting MTTs. It was a lot to deal with mentally at the same time. All right, going back to WCOOP. So by the end, we ended up, you know, down 10K for WCOOP. We ended up break even in cash. The climb bankroll took a big dip from the peak, right? And it's put us back down under 10K for the first time. So we started this bankroll challenge with 10K. The bankroll is now what, at 9 or 7? 8K. The bankroll is now at 8K, which means we have to regrind at 200 zoom until we can get it back up to around 10K and take shots at 500 again, which is what I'm planning on doing. I'm just going to get back on the horse, you know, like we got shot down. We took a risk. I wasn't ready. I learned a lot of things, and now we got to regrind, right? So what else did we learn from the WCOOP grind? Hmm. Hmm. When I'm being on a downswing like this, how do you keep composure during the playing and still play well, don't tilt? Honestly, experience, just knowing that I'm a winner and that it's going to turn around eventually, like having that, you know, faith of and confidence in my game, you know, um, just knowing that it's variance, knowing like we're talking about the downswing, but let's not forget, I was on like what, a 15-20 buy-in upswing at the same time in over half the hands, right? What's up, Pads? Good job. The series grind is a tough one. Everybody struggles, and it's great to see you being transparent and vulnerable. Thanks, mate. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun battling. You know, I like to chat and you know, throw around some trash talk, but it's all fun and games. Elliot Rose suggests printing out your lifetime graph to realize how little a downswing means. Well, I mean, this year is, you know, I'm up this year. I am a big winner at 200 Zoom. Always have been. I have that confidence. I have that, you know, I have that experience that I know I'm a winner. So it's easier for me than if it's with someone that hasn't played those games for as long as I have. And, you know, for all of you guys that have tuned in and watched my stream and have heard my stories about my past and about all the variants and dumb decisions I've made and times I've gone broke, like, this is the end results, right? Like, I'm a lot better of a player because of all the times I went broke, all the times I took shots, all the times I took risks and bounced back from them. It's cliche, but it's true. Like, I've been burned so many times that at this point, I know what works, I know what doesn't work, and I know where my confidence should be and shouldn't be. Right. That being said, I should have never had confidence going into the WCOOP that I was going to like win it, but I wanted to try and challenge myself for it because I was getting too comfortable. I was getting too comfortable grinding things I knew I could beat. And I really wanted to mix it up and try something that was going to have a high reward, high risk. And that's what this was, right? This was just a high risk, high reward scenario. It was also a really great learning scenario for me. I feel a lot more confident in MTTs. I feel like I can probably have an edge at some of the medium buy-ins in the future, right? So yeah. Did I win anything in the WCOOP leaderboard? No. So let's look at the WCOOP leaderboard. Player of the series. So this was the end result for me in the WCOOP medium leaderboard. This is what we were trying to win, right? This was what the bet was. We made top 20. We made 20th with 395 points. First had 735 points. Okay. So first of all, the top 10 guys here are literally just like leaderboard grinders. These are like the top of the top leaderboard players every season. Like, you see these same names every time. And they're absolute beasts, right? They're veterans. They've done this for years, most of them. This is the first time I've ever done this, and I got top 20. You know, like, it's obviously it's not cash, like top 10 cashes, but we had a shot. We had a shot at top 10, right? If I ran a little bit better at my final table in the stud 8, if I didn't misread my hand in the 6+ hold'em and think I had it straight and went all in, and I would have cashed, you know, like, there's a lot of spots where, like, if things went a little bit better, we could have easily hit top 10. Also, if things could have gotten worse, I could have even done worse, right? Of course. But I felt like top 10 was within grasp for the first time I've ever done anything like this. And that's encouraging, right? At one point in the series, I think we were like 13th. We were 13th at a certain point. So, like, yeah, I didn't reach my goal, but I feel like I can do it. Next time during the scoop, I'm going to go for it again. I'm pretty sure. And I feel like I can do it. I can get top 10 next time I grind. And that's how it works. You just got to keep working harder. I'm not going to have success right away. But yeah, these guys are beasts. They've been through it. They know exactly what to do. They know when to reg the tournaments. They know what games, you know, to study. They know all of that stuff. So I'll be back. Don't worry. We'll compete again. And so, yeah, so the challenge took a hit. We're going to regrind the challenge. No big deal. We learned a lot for the WCOOP. How many got paid? Top 10. So top 10 for the medium leaderboard got paid, and you got paid 1K. Here's the payouts here. You got paid 1K for 10th, and then 10K for first. Let me refill my coffee real quick. All right. And so the total loss for the series, if you take away the cash game profit, was, let's see, so 290. Actually, let's do the losses first. That's easier. 9839.94. Minus the cash game wins, which was 292.42. So we lost a total of 9.5K during the WCOOP. And including the 1K bet or excluding? Excluding. That was my own funsy bet to keep me motivated. Yeah, minus 9.5K when we were playing 25K in tournaments, right? We played $25,000 worth of tournaments, I'm pretty sure. 25,518, let me just make sure. Oops. I want to just make sure it doesn't include this one. If I delete that. Okay, it does include that, never mind. So we didn't play 25K in tournaments. I could go through and then delete the ones that we didn't play, actually, real quick, to see how much we played and then find out what our ROI was, right? Let's do that right now, actually. So we didn't play this. Anything with a 0 next to it, we didn't play. There we go. So that should be accurate for total buy-ins now. Although it doesn't include rebuys. Yeah, this is not. Damn, I didn't do this right, I think. Or maybe I did. This is a 215, but this is including the rebuy. So it's not a 430 tournament, it's a 215 with a minus 430 loss. Will that still be correct in my ROI? Or does this need to, or does the total buy-ins need to be reflective of how many rebuys? I think this needs to be reflective of how many rebuys, right? How does this work? Total buy-in should include rebuys if you want an ROI. Yeah. So I would have to change this to 275, right? Well, I'll do that later. I'll do that another time to figure out my ROI. It's obviously got to be something negative, but I don't know how much negative it is. All right, we'll figure that out. I'll do this another time for my ROI, but this is the results, right? This is the results of it all. So yeah, we came out minus 9,500 roughly. Overall, minus 9.5K, cash plus 200, WCOOP minus 9,700. And leaderboard 20th. So this is the end results, right? We ended up losing 9.5K. Cash games, we won a little tiny bit. Most of the tournaments we lost 10, and we got 20th in leaderboard. Now, would I do this again? Yes, I think I've made it clear that I'm looking to continue doing this in the future because I think that there's opportunity here. I think that there's a boom in MTTs live. Cash games, not so much. Cash games, I think, have been dwindling, especially online. It's making it tougher for me to grind that ladder to get up to high stakes, right? My goal is to grind the ladder all the way up to the high stakes games. High stakes being 510 plus. Technically, I could play 510 right now, but we're doing a challenge and whatever, right? But the goal is to grind the ladder. And MTTs are always going to be there and allow you to skip a lot of the grind. Because if you grind MTTs, you have a good ROI. Eventually, you could potentially bink something, and then all of a sudden, your bankroll is 10x what it was when you're grinding cash day in, day out. Now that's not the best way of looking at it. I understand. As a pro, you look at ROI. You look at each tournament is probably winning you whatever your ROI is. But there's something about future EV of doing well and having that opportunity in an MTT to boost you into the higher stakes cash games if you're ready for them. That's the disclaimer. If you're ready for higher stakes cash games and you feel like you're beating the current cash game very well and you want to move up and you feel like you can beat them, but you don't quite have enough padding for your bankroll, binking an MTT, all of a sudden now you have the padding for your bankroll. Now you can even take shots at a higher game if you feel confident in it. And it's a very nice snowball effect for pros that are, maybe a little lower than they should be in their grind. Maybe they got too comfortable for a long time. Maybe they didn't push themselves. Maybe they just feel like there's no need to move up and take on more risk because their bankroll, they have to pay for life expenses on top of winning money at poker, and they're just not willing to make that risk, right? Now this allows you to make that risk. So there's something about MTTs that I think is alluring to me that, we can have that opportunity. For example, this year I went to the World Series of Poker. I played one event. I played one stud 8 or better $1,500 event. We final tabled it for $15K. We came back. We played a Micro Millions $55 tournament and won $20K for that. We literally boosted our bankroll like a bunch just for playing 2 tournaments randomly that I thought were soft and I had fun in. And then I was able to play 510 no limit, right? So it's a crazy kind of thing that can happen that is hard to quantify in value, right? Like it's not really something that a lot of players take into account when they're determining, should I, play this format or that format? But cash games, you can kind of consistently count on a yearly average winning at a certain stake. Whereas MTTs, you can't do that. Some years you might even lose as an MTT player. Sometime you might win fortunes as an MTT player. It's just such high volatility. It's crazy. But that leads back to the risk reward scenario. So, all right, now I'm blabbering on about risk and whatnot, but I think this was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As a streamer, this was very difficult. This was not easy. Before this happened, I was streaming 4-hour days, and then I was able to take care of Franklin. And basically, I only put in 1,000 hands of cash a day. I only played 4 hours a day, right? I didn't play very much poker prior to this. This was a grind. This was a lot of hands played. I guess I could maybe look at tournament results. Will that look at since September 10th? Is that when? Yeah, September 10th. Does it say how many hands I played? Played 112 tournaments according to Poker Tracker. This doesn't track all of the mixed game tournament stuff too, right? Let's see. Doesn't seem like I can see cash or hands played. It's okay. But we did play a lot. We played a lot of cash, or I keep saying cash. We played a lot of hands. All right. I think that covers it. Unless you guys have any other questions about the grinds. I think you have to right click the tabs and add hands played. Oh, okay. Let's see. Did it add in? I don't think it did. I don't think I added the right thing, actually. There we go. 12,800 hands plus the 20-something thousand I played in cash. But that's not including all of the mixed games I played, right? That's not including all of the PLO, all of the stud games, all of the draw games, everything. So I probably played closer to like 20K hands of MTTs. What's the plan with the streams moving forward? Will you take a break for a bit? Yes, I'm going to take a week break starting next week. And I'll probably be back the following Monday. So I'm going to be back Monday the 16th for streaming. And it's gonna be us getting right back onto the grind for the challenge, getting right back into the challenge, playing cash games, studying cash games, focusing on cash games, getting back into it. I'm also gonna try and structure the morning study. So for the morning studies sessions, we usually have like a theme. I'm going to try and structure it so that I can put together a course, if you will, for YouTube for free and put it all up on YouTube. Are you going to center your cash gameplay around the best daily tournaments? I thought about that. Maybe I'll add in some MTTs on the side, you know? It's not a bad idea to keep sharp, right? To keep sharp for tournaments. Want to learn mixed games for Scoop WSOP 2024? Any tips on how to get started? Books. I have read a lot of books for different mixed games. I've read 7 Card Stud for Advanced Players by David Sklansky. I've read, the Split Pot Game by Ray Z book. I've read, Super System. All of those books on mixed games. That's a really good place to start. And it's free if you have a library and you can take out the books, right? What do you think is a good monitor for multi-tabling 4+ tables? I currently got a widescreen 34-inch monitor, and this is the first time I've ever had a big monitor. I've always grinded on a 24-inch monitor, one 24-inch monitor. I've only played 4 tables. And I would probably recommend a widescreen monitor now if you wanted to play multiple tables. Check Amazon now. There you go. I should really get an Amazon link for all of that stuff. Why do you not want to do another series? I do want to do another series. The Twitter post was clickbait. Sorry. Why not add different sites to grind cash than just stars? I will in the future. Maybe look at other sites as well for tournaments. Yeah, definitely. I think that's something I'm going to explore. I have an idea for some content that I will be putting out soon. Well, I won't be putting it out soon because I have to do the actual making of the content first. But I have a really cool idea for a video that I'm going to put out in the future about playing on different sites. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, guys? Or want to know more about things about, grinding a WCOOP if you're interested in that? You can make a thing where you find the best value tournaments each week for all sites. I mean, I want to do that anyway, right? But that's a good idea about finding good value. Yeah. Are you going to add heads up into your cash journey? Probably not. I learned a little bit about heads up just so that I can hold tables, right? So that if anyone does want to challenge me to a table, I can actually just play them heads up. But I didn't really dive deep in it. I don't want to be a heads up grinder. It's too much stress. Do I for stream? It was interesting hearing your thoughts about the whole series. Thanks for hanging out. I think I covered everything, right? I looked at the results for the tournaments, for the cash games, my thoughts, what I could improve. Yeah. What did your routine look like? So it was very loose, but it was the same thing every day. I'd wake up. If it was Sunday, I have to wake up early because they start early. But if it was a regular WCOOP day, I'd wake up around 9 o'clock. Well, the dogs usually wake me up before then anyway. I usually woke up around 8 or 7, but I planned on waking up around 9, hopping in a late reg tournament, which starts at 7, and then starting my grind, basically. And then every break, I would take the dogs out so that I wouldn't have to worry about taking them out on non-breaks. I would have breakfast and coffee before my grind. And then I would sometimes, most of the time, skip lunch because I just didn't have time to make lunch. I should have maybe prepped ahead with that in the future. Actually, that's a good one to add to the list here. Prep food before grind. Yeah, like meal planning for the grind would have been a lot easier. I actually found these frozen burritos I really liked that I started eating at lunchtime. That was perfect for it. But like just making like a tub of like egg salad, and then just like having egg salad sandwiches for lunch, like that would have just been so much easier than like not eating, and it would have put me in a better mind space too. Or like protein shakes. Yeah, like I should have been more I should have been more adamant about keeping my food solid. Add 1v1 coaching into your stream. I've done that before. I do giveaways from time to time for community members to review their hands. I'll do that when I come back next week. I'm going to have a giveaway for doing some 1v1 coaching. But yeah, so anyway, I ended up not eating lunch a lot, and then I grinded until the day was over. And then at night, I studied any of my hands that I played in tournaments or cash games, and then repeated. It was a tough grind. I was like mentally just exhausted every night. Tried to spend time with my wife, took care of my dogs. But it was tough. It was definitely tough. It took a lot of energy out of me. It was hard to go to the gym. I didn't really go to the gym that much. Days off on Friday, I went to the gym. in the future, I would focus more fitness stuff on Friday so that I felt better about it, instead of feeling bad missing the gym like during the week. And yeah, mostly 4-tabled. I always had at least 4 tables up. I think that's one thing I did well. I did well with that. I only restricted myself to 4 tables at a time, and I felt like that was a good idea. If I had tried to play 5 or 6 tables, it wouldn't have worked. I would have been too distracted. I'm not used to playing that. I think it was good for 4. And that was it. That was pretty much it. When Grace was off from work on the weekends, she would, be really helpful and make lunch for us and stuff and take care of the dogs. It was great. Like, I was really focused and locked in on the weekends. It was a lot easier when she was home. But when she was working, it was tough because I had to do everything myself while playing the series. Let's work out in the morning, get it over with. I wish I was a morning go-getter. I am not, though. It's so hard. It's hard for me to get up and get at it. But maybe during the WCOOP I could try. We'll see. The next series grind, I think, for stars is the winter series. That being said, I won't probably try and grind it unless they have a leaderboard. Maybe I will. I don't know. But yeah, I'll take the under on people who are morning people at 1%. Yeah. I don't think anyone is a morning person that's a poker player. I've never met one anyway. I think we're all just a nighttime species, nocturnal species. All right, I think that's it for this stream. This was fun. I'm going to be back Monday, the 16th, with Cash Game, back to our roots, back to morning study sessions for Cash. Trying to make some more content on YouTube with study sessions, more specific content for studying and stuff. I think it's going to be great. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. If you do want to support the stream, show up then in the mornings if you can. If not, then check out the YouTube. Check out GTO Wizard. That's my affiliate that I work with and also use constantly to get better at poker, right? Like, these guys have been amazing, supporting me, supporting the stream. Really love what GTO Wizard is doing. That's what I've literally only been using for studying and getting better. So go check it out. If you sign up and use my link, you'll get 10% off your first purchase. All right, guys, take care. Thanks for tuning in. And if you haven't yet, go follow me on all the socials. I'll be tweeting stuff, maybe mentioning things on Discord. So if you need some content, go check those out. All right. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.